I know football too, but I don't talk about it on the wrestling show.
The 9 Years Podcast.
Hello everybody and welcome to episode 83 of the 9 Years Podcast with myself, Nick Draper and Stuart Deakins. Don't really have anything funny to say about the number 83 really, other than if you take the two digits 8 and 3 and add them together, you get the number 11, which is the number of players you need to play a game of football. Any other sports you can play 11 players with, Stu? I don't know. Rugby's like 13, isn't it? Well, 15 for one version and 13 for the other, and basketball's like 5 or something. I don't know. Hockey maybe?
Or if you think 8 and 3 gives you 1 and 1, and 1 and 1 is a tennis game or something like that.
It is.
See, be smart with the numbers.
It is. We're good with the facts on this show, aren't we? Enlightening our listeners, as always. And thank you very much for joining us, whether it be on iTunes, YouTube, or 9yrspodcast.org. This is the post-Stu's Stag Do edition of the podcast. And we survived it, Stu, I think it's fair to say.
Yes, we survived it quite comfortably, really, although we did tend to walk and walk and walk. It's City, when you think about City Stag Do, yeah, we just walked and walked.
We did a lot of walking. Very sensible Stag Do, with a lot of walking, with an interesting venue, shall we say, in which we stayed. But I'm sure we'll talk about that more later.
I'm sure we will.
I took Stu and everyone on the Stag Do to the darkest, deepest reaches of Barcelona, basically into the arse end of nowhere. But anyway, one thing we did do, certainly, was fly there, and that has been the inspiration for my top 7 list this week. I don't know about you, Stu, but what you've done, but can I just get mine out of the way first?
Of course, mate, you go for it.
I will reject any situation, any suggestion that I knocked up my top 7 list with about 2 minutes to go before we started recording. Not at all. Not at all. But as we have been jet setting this week, I have chosen my top 7 songs with some form of air flight reference. So we have Airplanes by B.O.B. and somebody from that band, Paramore, I think, I'm not sure. Airplane by Plain White Tees. Fireflies by Owl City, Wings by Little Mix, No Air by Jordan Sparks, the classic Learn to Fly by the Foo Fighters, and finally, of course, Luton Airport by, I believe, Lorraine Chase, although I've not fact-checked this one.
You can't have that, surely.
Why not?
Did she really sing about Luton Airport?
No, was it Lorraine Chase? I don't know. Should I Google this whilst you do your top 7 list?
I'm not sure. I just think that's quite funny. How you got Luton into a top 7 list on flying? Always
a way to squeeze Luton into a show. Anyway, yourself.
Yeah, so as we obviously were at Nou Camp on Sunday evening, saw some excellent players live. And I thought, you know what, my top 7 players seen live by myself.
Okay.
So, mine are 1, Pep Guardiola, when he was a player back in the day with Barcelona, live at Nou Camp. Ronaldinho, Ryan Giggs, Peter Schmeichel, absolute legend he was. Of course, Lionel Messi, Zinedine Zidane, and the French, well, I'll say they're both French, but the French genius in Eric Cantona. But I did see him also for Leeds United when he was first at Leeds. But yeah, they're my top 7 players I've seen live.
You saw Eric Cantona at Leeds United when he was at Leeds?
That's the one. Well, before, obviously, when he scored, if I remember correctly, in a 5-1 win at Ellen Road against us before Fergie took him to Manchester United, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Boobs is what they want.
Right, Stu referenced there great players that he has seen, and that's going to form the basis of most of our podcast this week, as we look back on some of the greatest players that we've ever seen play for Wimbledon. However, we're going to look at it in terms of the greatest partnerships we might have seen across the pitch. If you think Barcelona, when they have that forward line of Messi, Neymar and Suarez, we're going to be looking at combinations across the pitch in our time watching Wimbledon FC and AFC Wimbledon. All the other usual features are coming up this week, of course. We're going to start with a look back at the football from last week. To help us with that, George Jones is back on the show, as you all know.
Hello.
Neither Stu or I were at Fleetwood on Saturday for the 0-0 draw against the promotion-chasing side. George, always a good result to get a 0-0 draw away from home, something we tend to do under Neil Luddy's tenure against some of the teams towards the top of the table. Obviously, we'd have taken a point beforehand, but on the day, could we have come away with all three?
Yeah, we created a few good chances, but in all fairness, so did Fleetwood. But the conditions were poor. Both keepers struggled, especially their own, with especially the wind and the rain to a certain extent. It wasn't a great game. But like you said, it's a point away to a team that was second. But Fleetwood were by far the worst team that I've seen in contention for promotion this season.
What were the conditions like? Because in Barcelona, it was 20 degrees and beautiful. We understand it was not quite the same back home in the United Kingdom.
Yeah, no, it was howling wind, absolutely appalling. Their keeper didn't keep a kick in play all game. It was quite heavy rain for the duration, and it was just appalling condition for football, to be honest. The pitch was in a poor state of play before the start of the game. By the end of the game, puddles were forming just off the pitch, but it was a poor game, partially down to the conditions, but partially due to the fact that we've got nothing really to play for the rest of this season, and Fleetwood are bottling it just like Scunthorpe.
Did the conditions then lead us to play, a little bit more direct? Were we not getting any passing going? What was the situation? Were Fleetwood having the same problem? They've always struck me as a team that liked to move the ball.
Yeah, well, they were definitely struggling. The pitch, it was impossible to get passes along around. The ball was just skidding all over the place. But you can see when we named the team, starting Tom and Tyrone Barnett up front together, that we were going to play a good passing style of football. But for some reason, we kept even up to the big lads, and that worked to an extent. Their central defenders didn't like it. But it was a poor game, one that we won't remember very much. But it was a little bit after the Lord's Mayor show after previous Tuesday. But we got a good point away at Fleetwood, and we're edging closer and closer to guaranteed safety.
So, George, just very quickly, it looks like we changed back to 3-5-2. Would that be right in saying?
Yeah, definitely. Back to 3-5-2, which I think we'll be using away from home for certainly the rest of this season.
It looks like an away formation, doesn't it? And I noticed also, obviously, Jonathan Meads, they obviously knew I did indicate that we wouldn't be able to play him back-to-back games, so he got dropped. So do you think we went with Barnett and Elliott up front because of the conditions? Maybe that it'd probably been safer to go long, or did we try and play it at all in the midfield?
No, we didn't try, to be honest. But I think Ardley's tried in previous games of playing, when games we started Lyle and Don Polion together, and we tried opening the ball up. But we oofed it up, and again it worked. We played well, and it was a good point, to be honest. But the conditions, it wouldn't have suited a passing game. And after the emotional draining that the previous Tuesday night took, especially on someone like Taylor with the goal he scored, I think it was just needing a rest, and the conditions gave us an excuse to do that.
Yeah. So you've seen, it's interesting actually, I'm looking at the league table, and we've played, or we're going to play, a lot of the teams around the sort of top areas. So looking now, Bolton have stretched after their win at Oxford the other night. They've stretched to a 4-point lead over Fleetwood. Do you see the teams, obviously we've seen Scunthorpe, you've seen Fleetwood, do you fancy them getting a challenge in the top two, or do you think them top two now are probably safe enough and promoted? Well,
Sheffield United are the best team that we've seen this season. When we played away from home, that was insane. They were by far the best team we've seen this season. And out of the other three, Fleetwood, Bolton and Scunthorpe, Bolton were considerably better than the other two, as you'd probably expect. So I'd be amazed if those two are not the final two going up.
I think it's funny when you look at the fixture list, and we were sort of worried about our form in places, with games away at Scunthorpe, away at Bolton and away at Fleetwood on the horizon. And we've come out looking fantastic. A real testament, I think, to the squad, that they've been able to raise themselves to get in so many good performances at that time to guarantee our safety. And it's interesting that this performance came, exactly as you said, George, after the big, emotional, fantastic Tuesday night victory over Franchise that preceded this game. I think a lot of us actually sort of half expected us to be unable to produce a performance. So I think we really do have to praise the players for putting a real shift in, because it would have been a real shift.
Definitely. I mean, Yeah, no, we were all expecting to go up there and lose, mainly just because it took so much players out of it took so much out of everyone Tuesday. But to go up there, have a half-decent atmosphere and to come away with points, an incredible result for everyone.
What sort of atmosphere is generated at Fleetwood, or was generated by the home support on Saturday? It's a fascinating club, really, because it's a club with a huge amount of financial input gone in there to lift them up into their current position. But of course, traditionally, they're a non-league side with very, very small support. So what were their fans like?
Well, their fans were sort of outside the ground, they're all nice, but inside the ground it was very quiet, and especially because you could tell from very early on in the game it was going to be a 0-0 with not many chances. And to be honest, their fans, I think, speaking to them afterwards, have realised that realistically now they're not going to get the automatics. They're safe in the playoffs, probably almost guaranteed now a home playoff as well. So they've effectively got a month to prepare for that. So I'd be amazed. Their fans really thought they've got a dead month coming up, similar to we do.
Yeah, it's interesting though. You mentioned what you say there, because I'm just look. Fleetwood have got 68, Bradford 66. Although Bradford and Scunthorpe have played an extra game than Fleetwood, so it's interesting actually. Scunthorpe, I can't believe how much they've dropped. But like you said, it's time for bottle season now, isn't it? It's when the teams actually now stand up and be counted. But Fleetwood, it's now a difficult situation because Fleetwood can't really afford to have one eye on the playoffs, because, as you say, that home fixture last is probably key to them now, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It's quite important. But like you said, Scunthorpe are in free fall, Bradford are improving, and I'd be amazed if Fleetwood, even with a mediocre end to the season, don't get a home game in the playoffs. So for them, they're looking pretty relaxed. Yeah,
it's interesting, isn't it? And also, Fleetwood didn't we draw 0-0 with Fleetwood at home earlier in the season?
It was a 2-2, wasn't it? With the
2-2
equaliser.
That's close,
yeah.
Well, it was a draw.
It was a draw. But that's not a bad return when you think about it. You know, Fleetwood, I thought, one of the better teams we've seen down at our place, football-wise.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, we're not doing too bad, are we?
We're not doing bad at all. George, who was the standout performance for us on the day then? Who do you think really stood out?
Will Nightingale was immense. The conditions weren't great, and that probably helped him, but he was all over the place. He put in a really solid game, really good in the air, solid on the ground, and he was my man of the match without a doubt.
So how did we line up then at the back with Will coming in? Because obviously he didn't play against Milton Keynes on the Tuesday.
It was just back to the way it was before the Tuesday and Saturday game in the previous away game with a 3-5-2.
Okay. So do we expect Will to get a run of games now, especially now the pressure's off us?
Yeah, well, he might get a run of games, but I think the 3-5-2 system really suits him on the basis that it means he doesn't have to play as often, and it means that because of his injury history, it will give him more time off because he'll only really be playing away games in a 3-5-2, and it means we get the experienced pairing of Robbo and Charles playing together at home games in a sort of a 4-4-2 system or a 4-3, and that works much better at home. So I think that's probably the way forward. So we might get running games, but not as many as people might think.
And anyone else aside from Will that was particularly impressive on the day?
James Shake did quite well, especially he didn't really have to make any saves. His best game kicking wise and distribution wise that he's had for us in a long time.
Now, for viewers of a certain age, or listeners, I should even say, as my little faux pas there on the audio podcast, you'll remember UEFA Cup games back in some far-flung places of Europe, like Russia back in the day, or the USL, whatever it might have been, and commentators would be talking over a telephone line and sounding like they're a million miles away. Well, I think we might be that sort of connection with George at the moment, so bear with us. However, thank you very much, George. I think we pretty much summed up what happened at Fleetwood anyway. I think just to look back, thank you very much for doing the man of the match poll for us following the game. And as you were just saying there, Will Nightingale, well, he ran away with the man of the match poll. 82% of the vote on Twitter at 9wirers podcast. His nearest challenger was George Franken with 9%, Jake Reese 5%, and Tom Elliott 4%. And then 3-word reports, which again I'm going to assume, as I wasn't around, I'm going to assume that was my erstwhile brother Chris Draper that put this up for us with We'll Take That, and we'll definitely take that even if you can't spell the word will. But amongst them this week, George, yourself, at ballboy_Don. Don's edge closer. I'm assuming you mean towards safety.
Yes, of course.
Simon Hazel, at Hazel_Simon. Another good point. And then finally, my father, at M Draper Mark, asks, why yellow kit? Why were we in yellow?
Because it's our white kit.
But Fleetwood play in red. It doesn't clash.
No, we don't have first, second, third. We have home, away, alternative.
We should have blue, and if the other team play in blue, then a different colour. But anyway,
What happens when we play Mansfield and Oxford?
When it happens with Mansfield and Oxford we could play in blue against. We just need to change the shorts. That's fine. And then Mansfield, we just have to have a white kit. So there we go. Done. Sorted. Thank you very much for joining us, George. And we'll probably be speaking to you again, I'm sure, for future away games over the course of the season.
Definitely.
All right, Stu, before we go on any further with this week's show, I have something I'd like to discuss. Now, for some time, you and listeners to the 9 Years podcast will be aware that there is a certain WWE performer that I am especially fond of, shall we say. Do you know who I'm talking about when I say that?
That would be the certain Paige.
That would be Paige, but I think the time has come for my love affair with Paige to come to an end. I think we have got to come to a mutual parting of the ways. She is pretty much married anyway, and she's not really been on WWE TV for about a year now, or it seems like that. And let's just say certain parts of her private life have come out into the mainstream media, and I think the allure has somewhat gone. I think it's now time for me to focus on perhaps other members of the WWE female roster. So, in a world exclusive, I would like to announce that I'm changing my top number one WWE diva. So congratulations, Alexa Bliss. Well done. From now on, this is the 9 Years podcast with extra added mentions of the SmackDown Women's Champion, Alexa Bliss. Are you familiar with Alexa Bliss, Stu?
No. But are you being basically a glory hunter because she's a champion?
She just so happens to be the champion. She might not be for much longer. Google Alexa Bliss, Stu, and see if you agree with my choice. That's all I'm going to say.
Let's be fair, I'm getting married, so I can't really be looking at other ladies. Alexa Bliss.
Alexa Bliss.
Alexa Fast has come up. That's not the lady.
That's not her, no.
Alexa Bliss, let's have a look. She's a bit rough.
Sorry, what?
She's a bit rough.
Give over.
Well, the first picture I've seen looks like someone's just told her that, well, just someone's told her something that she don't like. She looks... Is that a... It looks like she could be on the Gladiators.
Yes, that's a good shout. She could be.
But what she's wearing, like, do you remember when we going back to Gladiators? Do you remember Jet on the Gladiators?
How can you forget Jet? I once saw her at the Bristol Aerodrome.
Did you really?
No.
But that's what I mean. She looks like the way she's wearing what she's wearing. She could be on the Gladiators. I don't know, Nick. One second. Let me put Paige up now and see what Paige. Has Paige got a surname, or is she just known as Paige?
It's just Paige with an I in the middle.
So she's obviously just got one name, so she must be very popular. It's probably an improvement on Paige, but then that ain't saying an awful lot, really.
Dear me.
Yeah, I don't know, mate. I don't know. But then maybe she looks better close up. I don't know. Yeah.
Well.
Alexa Bliss.
Anyway,
okay.
That's enough perving for one day. Let's move on. I think I don't know what's going on with my life at the moment, Stu. Someone, I think, tweeted us at the podcast. It might have been David Peters again, at David Peters, but I'm not sure if it was, and that's probably not even his Twitter handle. However, I saw somewhere a reference for Two Word Tango about teams with United in their name.
With United in their name?
Yeah.
like Leeds United.
Yes, well done. Is this doable?
Could be. To be honest with you, I'm just looking after your new WWE favourite. I've just literally put in WWE ladies to see if there's anyone actually better than that. But they put out some really random characters.
How about Maurice? Is she there?
Maurice. I don't know. They would look a bit rough, to be fair. I wouldn't like to be in a ring with half of these ladies. They might beat me up.
I'd be all right with that, to be honest.
Yes, I think you would be.
Yes. Should we do two-word tango? Let's do two-word tango. Teams with United in their name.
Okay.
All right. Who wants to go first?
You go first.
All right. Thank you. Oh, believe me, I will. Okay. Here we go.
Gotta listen out for this guy. It's a famous name, but don't flop. There's something like Sebastian Coe. Celebrity two-word tango.
Leeds United.
Sheffield United.
Scunthorpe United.
Man United.
West Ham United.
Adelaide United.
Sheffield United?
Oh, I didn't think you'd come back with another one.
No, neither did I, but I can't think. Did we say Sheffield United twice?
I didn't say Sheffield United.
I don't think I did. I think I said Leeds and Scunthorpe, possibly. West Ham, yeah, I didn't. Yeah, so yay, I think I did win that one. Hooray.
That's harder than what I thought.
That was hard. My mind went blank with all the Uniteds. I'm trying to quickly go through now and I can't think. Newcastle United.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah. There's probably people screaming or...
Is there any other in League 2? I'm trying to think of like in League 2.
Oh, Peterborough United in League 1.
Of course, Sutton United.
Sutton United. Yeah.
Cool.
I'm sure there are many others that we do.
That was a tough one than what I thought. I thought it was going to be easy, that one.
What about Rotherham United? Is it Rotherham United?
Yeah, Rotherham United. Yeah, it's Rotherham United.
Oh, well.
Oh, well, I was rubbish at that.
Oxford United.
Oh, okay, no, shut off.
Yeah, all right. Okay. Right. So, this week, we were decided, didn't we, to look at partnerships in the history of AFC Wimbledon and Wimbledon FC. This is because you went to see Barcelona on the weekend. I didn't. I had to get a flight back.
I know, mate. I know. It was quite gutting, actually. Yes, we had a good time in Barcelona. And yeah, unfortunately, you had to get back for school.
I did.
And yes, we stayed on and watched the game on Sunday night, which was an interesting game. Yeah, Barcelona. First time I've seen. I've seen Messi before, but I've not seen Suarez or Neymar. And I have to say, Neymar was just. I was mesmerised by him. Brilliant player.
And you said possibly the best forward line you're ever going to see, possibly in your lifetime.
I don't think how you see anything better, if I'm being truthful. You've got depends what you like. I know obviously you can look at Madrid and you can look at they've got a forward line of what Benzema, Ronaldo, trying to think what else they've got now. I mean, you wouldn't say Real Madrid have got their Galacticos, but they all threw out a team where Barcelona have just got a strike force that I don't think anybody in world football can compete against in terms of quality.
No, although we might have some competition for them in our history of Wimbledon partnerships.
Of course we have.
I'm not sure we do. But anyway, we've both done a top 5 list, haven't we? Of these.
Yes.
We've not done one of these for a little while, have we?
No, so we've gone for partnerships. We haven't gone for the typical forward. Well, I know I haven't. I haven't gone for the typical forward partnerships. I've done partnerships. So if you're looking about the spine of a team, that's what I've sort of looked at.
Well, do you want to go first then with your 5th on your list?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say I've gone in particular order. I've not gone for any particular order, which is madness because we said top 5, didn't we?
Yes, it tends to be how these things work. I look forward to Radio 1's chart on the weekend. The top 10 in no particular order. Here we go. Okay,
so let's go. So yeah, my first one would be Butler and Shane Smelts. Richard Butler and Shane Smelts. They sort of... So you think about Shane Smelts joined in March of the 04-05 season. We were then champions in Environ 1 South, Surrey Senior Cup winners, and then went into 05-06. So I thought Richard Butler and Shane Smelts is probably one of the best early strike partnerships we had.
This is going to crop up a few times, I imagine, over the course of this top 5 list. But Butler and Smelts does really sound like some form of legal firm. or partnership. If you need some help in the courts, you give Butler and Smeltz a call.
Yes.
Leading lawyers. Maybe accident lawyers or something. Anyway, we're off the point. Yes, they wouldn't have played together for very long, though, would they? I'm just thinking back. It would have been a very short space of time that we had them together.
Well, they had the 04, 05, and then 05, 06.
Was it really the whole season that he was with
Yeah, I double checked because I thought it was exactly the same. Did we lose him? But we didn't. We kept him.
Wow. Oh, he did very well. And did they not both score in the Surrey Senior Cup final?
Yes.
And did you just say that and I completely ignored that?
No, you didn't. No, I didn't. Okay. So basically, if you look at that season, in 04-05, Richard Butler was top goal scorer. And in 05-06, Shane Smeltz was top goal scorer.
Now, what I never understood about Richard Butler was the fact that when he left us, a lot of fans seemed to dismiss his time with us a little bit and gave him a lot of grief when we played against him for Staines. And I didn't quite understand that because I loved him when he played for us, and I think everyone did. So it was great for us. I'm
trying to think, didn't he leave, though, in not favourable... Didn't he leave? I'm trying to think now. Did he leave? Was he pushed out, or did he leave for a better contract? I'm almost sure we didn't want him to leeve.
Did we not get someone else in, and he just was sort of pushed to the side a little bit? Did we get like Roscoe Desane or someone?
Possibly. I just liked, if you think about Richard Butler and Shane Smeltz, Richard Butler, who was the typical English forward who harassed and chased and did all the things that, if you remember, Kevin Cooper wouldn't do, which is why he got released. And then Shane Smeltz was just literally a golden find, wasn't it? So we just got lucky. He had a failed trial, didn't he? If I remember, Halifax, properly. Had a failed trial, come over to us, and we benefited from him. Especially now, if you look, he's just been called back up for the New Zealand squad. So one of our first internationals probably to play for us.
I would have banked on him getting a deal with Halifax, but never mind. But yes, he was. He scored at the World Cup, hasn't he?
That's a shocking joke, by the way, but yeah.
No, he did score at the World Cup. He really did. Against Italy as well.
He did.
Okay, good first choice.
Go on, what was yours?
Let's go for, because my top 5 list in no particular order.
I don't know if it was a bad now.
Let's go for Ben Judge and Alan Innes. Let's look at it a different way. Like you said, looking at the spine of the team and our centre-half pairing for a good long spell in the Conference South when we won the league in, what would that have been, 2008, 2009?
Yeah.
So,
shout. I haven't got that on my list, but that's a really good shout.
Yeah, I just remember those two having the perfect centre-half pairing, one that goes and clears out and attacks the ball, and one that sweeps up behind.
And didn't Ben Judge win Player of the Season that season?
I think he did.
Wasn't that the infamous speech that he did that no one else can match for Player of the Year?
You would be well right, actually, at the end of the year do at Kingsmeadow. Or no, it wouldn't have been Kingsmeadow at the time, would it? They'd have gone up somewhere in London, wouldn't they?
I'm trying to think where it was now.
Cafe Royale or somewhere?
The Cafe Royale, we did do a Cafe Royale. I'm trying to think who won it that year. I think it may have been Kingsmeadow. I think it may have been, but yeah, it was But I've seen recording. It is on YouTube if you've not seen it in a few parts. But it is a brilliant speech, and I don't think anyone after that wanted to follow that, Player of the Season speech because he nailed it.
He nailed it and had a fantastic season that year, as we all did as a club, of course. But those two were a great pairing, and it worked really well between the pair of them, I think. I can't think of many centre-half pairings that we've had that have been quite as consistent as those two, shall we say.
Yeah, well, I've got a couple on my list, actually, that you may not have thought about or have thought about, but yeah, I won't spoil the surprise.
Well, do you want to go into them now and see what...
They're in my top... They're actually in my top 3. I'll go for my number 4 now, which is another strike force, but back in my younger days, which was John Fashanu and Dean Holdsworth. In the 93-94 season when we actually finished 6th. Yes, 6th in the Premiership.
That was the year I was born.
Of course.
Yeah. Yes, but of course that was legend. For me growing up, that was the first sort of Wimbledon strike force that I'd have watched, Fashanu and Holdsworth. And I think there's a little... I mean, you can't really say legendary, I suppose, but it is, for me, those two. You almost had two huge personalities for very different reasons.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because that's the only one I've got going back into the Wimbledon days, but I looked at that and also looked at the 96-97 season where we finished 8th and we got to the semi-final in both FA Cup and League Cup. And I was in two minds whether to go for Akuku and Holdsworth. Holdsworth creeps up quite a lot now in sort of like some really good... I think sometimes we forget, obviously, with the history of Dean Holdsworth and what happened since he left and stuff. But I think we forget actually how good he was for us over quite a long period as well, Dean Holdsworth. But yes, finishing 6th in the Premiership, our highest ever finish in that league. I just remember factoring Holdsworth, and especially back in the day, if I remember properly, was in the old LBC kit.
Yeah, it would have been.
Which I loved. I loved the dark, the real royal blue LBC, and also the white away.
Yeah, we did have some cracking white away kits back in the day, didn't we?
We did. So I just remember that season vividly. It was a cracking season, and that's my number 4 on the list. What's yours?
Well, mine might be a little bit controversial now, because I was looking at that 96-97 season and the strikers in that team, and we're thinking Efan Okoku, Marcus Gale, Dean Holdsworth. What was the best combination of those three? Because you could argue they all played together at some point.
Yeah, I looked at that season. I think, if I remember properly, if I checked, Marcus Gale was the top goal scorer.
Yeah.
And he was, if I remember properly, he started out wide, didn't he? But we did eventually start pushing him in towards the middle, so sometimes playing a free, didn't we? But he was, particularly when he first joined, he was a winger, but ended up being pushed more up front.
Yeah, and I think we sort of began to rotate and what have you, but certainly Okoku and Holdsworth in that season, scoring goals up front for fun at times, really. I think I remember was it a 4-0 win over Everton where they might both scored?
Yep. Was that the season we won at Chelsea 4-2 that season at Chelsea?
It was indeed, yes.
When obviously our current manager at the time, Nuardi, scored a 30-yarder.
Yeah, with a little bit of help from a swerving ball and a horrendous hitch cock-up.
But Marcus Gale did score potentially one of the best. That was probably one of the best goals that I've seen Marcus score at the Bridge that day when he.
One of the best goals I think I've seen anyone score.
Yeah, outside the left foot, outside the right foot. I'm trying to think
the left foot, nutmegged Frank Leboeuf.
Oh yes, the one with the big lump on his head.
Yeah, crack it! So you know what? To all Chelsea fans out there, I always show them that goal. They're just like, Wimbledon. I'm like, yeah, we beat you at Stamford Bridge quite often, actually, back in the day, when you were nothing. When you were actually nothing.
When there was 16,000 at the ground.
Yeah, don't start me. When you look at, do you know what? When you watch those Premier League review shows back on Sky that they show, and you're looking at Stamford Bridge, when it was being rebuilt, by the way, so there was only like 3 sides to it, and there were empty seats everywhere. I was like, you couldn't even set up 3 sides of your ground. And now you're blooming trying to suggest you've got one of the biggest clubs in Europe, whatever. Anyway. I don't like Chelsea. I really don't like Chelsea. You might
never guessed.
It was great, though, that we beat them 4-2 that day, and 3 players scored against them that were black, because their fans really didn't like that back then. Even back then.
Very true.
Anyway.
Okay, should we start our top 3?
You can start your top 3, yes. Okay,
so this is my top 3 is one of my defensive pairings. So I've gone for Adam Bennett and Pim Balkenstein.
Wow, if there was a name, if you were to ask me the list of names that we'd be coming out with right now, Pim Balkenstein would never be anywhere near. The
reason I've gone for the partnership is I just think how significant that partnership was. So if you think about it, we picked up Bennett from Cambridge, Cheltenham, picked him up late on the transfer window, if you remember properly, and then we picked up Pim on loan from Ipswich. But I just felt that that season when we struggled to stay up, I think that pairing really helped us stop the goals. Because that season, if you remember, before Terry Brown left position, we were letting goals in left, right and centre. And I just felt that pairing really gave us stability. And I think if you look back, it's all about, if we dropped out of the league that day, would we be in League One? Unlikely. I just think it was such a pivotal partnership. Maybe not ones that have come off the top, we look at the strikers, but I just felt as a defensive that season, them two were very, very good. Of course, Pim Mark II, when he come back to us, when he signed, was a totally different ball game.
Okay, then with centre-half pairings in mind, then let me choose Danny Okins and Matt Everard.
Oh, I had that on my top 7, but it didn't reach my top 5.
Oh, well. I couldn't not put Danny Okins in, considering how much I loved the man when he played for us in the Combined Counties League. And that was possibly the highest scoring central defensive partnership in the history of football.
Unless you gave Danny a penalty, we all remember down at Hampton.
Yes, that's a good memory. I'd forgotten about that one. Blimey.
I remember very well because we were down that end and I remember walking out in disgust.
We'd won 5-1?
I think it was very late, though. I think it was very late, wasn't it, a penalty?
It was. In fact, what happened... So this was against... Who was it? Ditton, was it? In that ridiculous trophy cup thing that we had instead of the FA Vase at the time.
Yes.
And I think it was 5-1 in sort of injury time, and I thought, I'll just go to the toilet before we have to get the train back. And then I actually missed all of it. I missed all of the fun. I missed the penalty award. I missed the penalty. And that was that. We ended up having to settle for a 5-1 win. Andy Petty, I think, scored a few goals that night.
Yeah, they put a pass in that. But that was a good partnership. Like I say, it's in my top 7. I just didn't reach my top 5 in the end.
No, and purely it's there just because they scored lots of goals.
Yeah, and also... And any chance to get Matt Everard in your top partnership, who was a hell of a player. That I just wish we'd... It's a shame, really, we didn't come across Matt Everard, say, 5 years earlier. And he would have been an absolute legend. He would have gone through the leagues, which is why Aldershot put a bid in for him, wouldn't they? In Terry Brown. Brown days.
Terry Brown put a bid in for him, and he said no.
He said no to Mr. Brown.
Wow. What a legend he was. A pair of them were legends. And I'm sure I've told you before, the last time I saw Danny Oakins was at Selhurst Park, and he was being escorted from the stadium. But anyway.
No surprise there.
no, less said about that, the better. All right, you're second on your list then.
Yeah, so I've gone for centre-half partnership again in my top 5. I've gone for Sir Marcus Gale and Jason Goodliffe.
Good shout.
Who obviously Staines playoff winners. I just felt that season let's be honest, we were in desperate need of getting out of that division, and we got possibly the best experienced centre half. They weren't the most quickest, but in terms of experience, they were excellent. So yeah, I still remember Marcus Gale being lifted aloft at the Staines after the game, and Jason Goodliffe getting up on that little table and celebrating the playoff trophy.
Yes, what a great day that was, or it turned out at Staines. For a large part of that day, it was terrible.
Yeah, 20 minutes earlier, and we were all thinking about, oh dear.
Yes,
so, yeah.
We're never going to get out of this league.
So Marcus Gale is in my top 5 like yours, but mine's in a different position, believe it or not. How strange is that?
He is good in a variety of positions. But that was I don't find what's amusing in this, Stu. There was no double entendre there whatsoever. But he did do a great job for us when he came back. It was pivotal for us for a good spell of time there. His experience was invaluable. In fact, the pair of them actually, really, isn't it? Their experience at different levels of the game, yeah.
They were brilliant.
They were.
So what's your number 2, mate?
Well, again... So I'm just thinking, Neil Ardley's a legend, Marcus Gale is a legend, but both of them used to play for Watford. What's going on? I need to sort this out. Can't be having this.
They obviously saw the light at some point.
Well, yeah, true. Blinded by that horrendous yellow kit that Watford wear, but anyway. Speaking of Neil Ardley, I've gone for a totally different partnership here. Tried to mix it up and maybe perhaps tried to be a little bit too clever, and this is going to backfire horribly. However, I have gone for the partnership of Kenny Cunningham and Neil Ardley. Yeah,
good one.
The fullback right wing sort of link up between the pair of them. That again, following on from my earlier one, 96-97, when we had that incredible season, and the pair of them just linked up so well. Kenny Cunningham was just, what a player, really. What a fantastic player. Defensively, outstanding. But also, when he could get forward and when he could overlap, he could put some great balls in the box. And I think we all remember Manchester United in the FA Cup and Kenny Cunningham's cross for Marcus Gale, to mention Marcus Gale one more time.
Yeah, Kenny was superb. Joe, I did think about partnerships like that. The thing I sort of got was Ben Thatcher and Ben Thatcher's elbow, because they seemed to work well together.
Yes, he had a great love for his own elbow.
Yeah, no, Kenny Cunningham was probably one of my all-time favourite players. Just because he just had, whenever he spoke, no one understood a word he said. That real sort of Irish accent and the perm, and he was just such an underrated defender. But he was brilliant for us.
Yeah, and I think it's proof that when he left us after we got relegated, that he went on to have a fantastic career in the Premier League and with Ireland as well. And I think that shows you just what an outstanding player he was. But I think definitely underrated is the word for him. Don't actually remember him making many tackles as a defender. His positioning was just so good.
Never needed to, Never needed.
No.
And interesting, we actually signed him from Millwall.
Yes.
Who else we got Ben Thatcher from? And
John Goodman as well at the time, was it?
Yeah, Millwall in that day had a really good youth policy, didn't they? So we did nick some really good defenders from them.
And then obviously Neil Ardley, as we know, in that season, outstanding. Dead ball quality was just superb from him. Deliveries into the box. And I think you've told me the story before, haven't you, when he's come down as manager now at Wimbledon, and he's been showing our players how to take a dead ball, and every single time it's spot on.
Yeah, I think if I remember properly, I saw him before. I think it might have been a Fleetwood game, if I remember properly. Yes, it was a Fleetwood game, because I remember John Sullivan asking me, who's that? He thought it was a scout. He thought I was a scout from the opposition when Bassi told me, no, he's not. But yes, he did. He did some set pieces that day, and you wished it could be like the American football where you could just bring on a quarterback for a certain dead ball situation, because, he put it on the money every time. Had I lost it.
So, you're number one.
Yeah, I don't think mine's surprising. I'll be amazed if yours is different, because we haven't mentioned them at all yet. But mine is Danny Kedwell and John Mayne. Yeah.
That was my next one, yeah.
I don't think it's partnerships you can go away from it. And it wasn't just one season.
No.
It was probably about a season and a half, wasn't it? And,
I love the way you said that. It wasn't just one season. It was... season and a half. It pretty much for 2 seasons, if we're being honest, but then obviously mainly lost his way a bit, didn't he, in the conference and stuff like that. Yeah,
but
it didn't quite happen for him, but never mind.
I just think when you think about when they were just given the Conference South, I just think they were a great partnership. And again, maybe it was one of those partnerships where Maney was a bit younger and stuff like that. But them two together were great fun together, and also were superb on the pitch.
Yeah, I think Kedwell came in, didn't he? He was a real leader, wasn't he, as our captain? When he took over the captain's armband, he was a real leader for us. And then John Mayne, it was just like, as you say, it's like two best mates on the pitch, but just linking up fantastically well and scoring goals. Lots of goals.
And also very influential in the dressing room as well, I believe. So he was very, very, very good I think if you think about that dressing room, especially when we got promoted from the conference, that dressing room had some really good characters in it. If you think about Jamie Stewart, you can forget Jamie Stewart, sort of Danny Kedwell, John Mayne's in that dressing room, Sammy Moore's, all them sort of players. So, but Kedwell, Mayne. If we hadn't put them in our top 5, it would have been criminal.
Yeah, and I know we would have talked at length about the team that got promoted out of the conference, but you're right. You look at what was a very, very young squad, but the names you mentioned there right through the spine of the team with Jamie Stewart, Danny Kedwell, and then you look at Sammy Moore and perhaps Stephen Gregory.
Yeah, Brett Johnson.
And Brett Johnson. Wow.
Yeah, it was a very good... You look back at the team, you sometimes actually forget how good that team was. But we had some real leaders in there. And Jamie Stewart, I still love Jamie Stewart, I must admit. I loved him when we signed him, and I just loved the song we had for him. I think it was the best song we ever had for a player.
Yes, it's just a shame he never got the chance to play against Milton Keynes.
Oh, crikey, he wouldn't have played for long.
We should have done that, really. We should have just got Ben Thatcher on a short-term contract, Jamie Stewart on a short-term contract. Go on, boys.
How long would Jamie Stewart have lasted? Give him 10 minutes and he'd been sent off.
He'd have been off, and
also he'd been carried off probably, do you know what I mean, by the players and lost because he'd probably taken out Dean Lewin. Not that we condone anything like that.
Not that we condone anything like that, of course. I might just touch on that subject in a moment, but if you have any other partnerships in the history of Wimbledon Football Club or AFC Wimbledon that you think we've missed and you'd like to suggest as our best ever partnerships, please tweet us or follow us on Facebook at 9YRS Podcast and have your say. Dean Lewington, that just reminds me. Have you seen this video of the Milton Keynes fans in the away end?
I've seen it, but I haven't seen it with the sound on. I think I was watching it late at night when I couldn't have the sound on. But looks funny. They were, like I said to you before, wasn't it? They were actually goading a empty stand.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
I remembered it at the time, thinking that's quite funny, but actually seeing them do it is even funnier.
The best thing is on the video is that they are taunting us. And then the camera actually pans around to the John Green stand, and there's just empty seats.
Poor John Green, what do you do to deserve that?
I know, he's getting absolute verbals from the Milton Keynes firm, who, of course, had a very early start the next day because I think they had an exam at 10 to 9. But anyway, ludicrous. Hilarious, though. Absolutely hilarious viewing. Bless them. God love them.
Well, I don't know about love them, but yeah.
Yeah, well, 2-0. What a night.
Was it 2-0?
It was 2-0.
Do you know what? I must admit, yesterday I was feeling tired, and just to cheer myself up, I watched the goals again. I don't think I'm ever going to get bored of watching Lyle Taylor's goal.
No. The only thing I wish we had is more footage of the celebrations afterwards, but maybe we can, or the club can organise something like that. That'd be good.
Yes, definitely.
Yes, definitely. We will do Poli on Go today. I think, well, we're talking about partnerships and we're talking about Barcelona that we went to on the weekend. Let's be honest, Stu. Ever stayed in a place quite like that before?
No. But for people that are not, obviously what happens on Stag stays on Stag, so we won't show the pictures. But I've never seen a room so small and have 3 bunk beds in. It was I laughed because I found it really amusing. But wow, yes,
wasn't quite what I was expecting when I booked it, to be honest. Not quite what I'd seen. But
yeah. It was one of those. If you picture the scene, whenever anyone tried to get ready to go out, you actually had to do some sort of like maneuver to go around in some sort of circle. So you go to your locker, get your stuff, and then the next person would move, and it was like a jigsaw, wasn't it?
Like Tetris, yeah.
Yeah, I ended up taking my, and we also had one shower for 4 rooms that also had 6 people in. Mm-hmm. 1 toilet.
Yep.
So that was fun in the morning. So I literally decided to take my stuff outside into the hallway and get changed as there was more room.
Now, some of these rooms weren't also particularly well labelled, so in searching for the toilet one evening, I did stumble into somebody else's room, which was fun.
Did you really?
Yeah, did you not know that?
No.
That's on the first night. Because I checked the handle, and it turned, and I thought, well, it must be all right then. And I just opened the door, and then someone just sitting bolt upright in there, they go, huh?
And what made it even funnier is that one of my friends, Sean, coming on to the Stag do, but didn't stay at a hostel, stayed in a lovely hotel that had Sky Sports, had a pool and everything. And he seemed, every time we met him, he was lovely and refreshed, and we were like, yeah, it was a hard work, wasn't it?
It was hard work. I love the fact on the last day we're doing a tour of Barcelona, and we're on the bus, and he goes, that's my hotel. I'm like, oh man.
yeah, but Joe, you know what? It was really, really good laugh. I really had a really great time. Thank you for that as well. Obviously, Nick's my best man, so he did put a really good weekend together. But I did laugh at the hostel because it just means that I've done it. I've ticked the box. I'm never going to tick that box again.
And of course, the other thing about that was the fact that apparently the nearest choo-choo thing. Station, as you called it.
I couldn't think what the metro was called, so I called it a choo-choo.
Choo-choo thing. Apparently there's 3 exits to that station, and I didn't know of one. So, of course, when we got there, we take out the station, we come out the exit, and I'm like, oh, great, right, this is exactly where I know where we are. And we walk to the hostel. It felt like it took about half an hour. It probably only took 10 minutes, like it wasn't far, but it felt longer because we were knackered coming off the plane. And then, as we later discovered, there's actually an entrance to the station about 2-minute walk away on the other side.
And also, the route we picked, it was lucky there was 6 of us because it felt like some of the characters we walked past were going to mug us at any point.
It did feel like we were, yeah.
I was like, where are we staying? It was just such a great adventure, but
it was also dead when we got there. It was absolutely dead. The following days, it was actually quite busy and vibrant. We're like, okay, all right. But when we got there, it was just like, there's nothing here.
It was good. It was lovely and sunny, great weather, and then we come back, which is literally rain most days, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not been great, especially on today, the day we are recording this podcast, which is the Wednesday, of course. It's been absolutely hammering it down, hasn't it? Never mind. Maybe the weather is nicer in wherever Don Polion has ended up this week.
Yes, let's have a go.
Let's have a go. I like where you've done that, actually. Have a go. Have a Polion go. That should be like our tagline for it or something. I don't know. I'll have a break, have a Kit Kat.
Yeah.
Should I stop talking?
Yeah.
All right, considering a conversation we had earlier and considering what the first clue is, the sort of cryptic clue, I should remind you at this point, Stu, that Halifax Town are not in the Football League, so therefore it cannot be them. Okay.
Okay.
But the cryptic clue is that Dom has gone to a ground where he thinks he's going to be able to do some banking.
See, I had a good one then, but it can't be them because they're not in the Football League.
There's still a chance you can get this on the first clue. I'm not sure you've ever got it on the first clue.
Nah, and there's probably no chance at all on the first clue. I can't. What's the clue again, quickly?
He thinks he's going to be able to do some banking. Banking.
No, I can't think of anything.
Okay. I would have loved you to just gone for something like NatWest FC.
Well, I thought about Lincoln City because they play at Sinsel Bank.
Oh, very clever, but they're not.
They're not in the Football League.
No, and they lost to Boreham Wood the other night, which is a bit of a surprise. But anyway,
They did.
Right, second clue. Another somewhat cryptic clue. It's half cryptic, half factual. Long walk for Dom. He's got the train. It's a long walk to the ground from the station. It's about 2 miles, in fact. He's with lots of other fans travelling, and there seems to be a bit of a race to get to the ground.
A long walk.
The long walk is the factual bit, and the
Yes.
bit about the race is the somewhat more cryptic.
I can't think of any grounds that are 2 mile walk, apart from old grounds that. See, I don't think. I remember Yeovil Town being a long walk, but that's probably my best guess.
No, it's not Yeovil Town, I'm afraid. Okay, so last clue before the anagram.
Yeah, please.
No, he's in the away end. It's an all-seater away end, but there is some terracing in the home areas in what is a new, old Football League ground.
Some terracing in the home end.
Yes, there's terracing in the home end, but the away end is all-seater.
Wow, crikey. Let's have a think.
You have been there.
Yeah, I'm trying to think now. Terracing in the. No, I can't think. Wow, that stumps me, that is.
Okay, you're going to kick yourself.
Thank you.
But the anagram clue, I think this is based on the ground's actual name as opposed to whatever sponsored name it might now have, okay?
Okay.
The anagram is Ow, Dad Hard On.
Oh, I haven't got a clue. Stumped me. I'm still thinking about the away end that's got a terrace, home seating. Sorry, terrace. Home. God.
Can't even get your words out.
Oh, that's been my misery. I'm so tired this week. I haven't got a clue. That stumps me.
You're going to kick yourself.
Go on.
It's Cheltenham Town. Wadden Road.
Oh, on the bank, Cheltenham and Gloucester.
Yeah. Bit of a race because of Cheltenham races.
Oh, that's for rubbish, isn't it?
And then
I've never been by train, if I'm being truthful, so I wouldn't know how far it is. But
no, that's
and
fair.
it has got seating. Oh, yeah. Oh well, that was rubbish.
There you go.
Okay.
Oh well.
What's next?
What is next? A look ahead to the coming week, I think.
Yes, we've got Southend and we've got Rochdale.
We do. I'm going to be dead on Rochdale. We've got parents' evenings Monday and Tuesday nights due, so I'm going to be late getting to the Rochdale game. And
Shocking.
And then I'm flying out to America on the Thursday, so
yes, I have a friend who's already travelled out. He went out to last year's WrestleMania, and I saw a picture on Facebook of him outside. Well, him with the Magic Kingdom behind him, and he looked really depressed. I was like, "You're in Florida, mate." But yeah, he's gone out there. He's gone out there already, mate.
He's already there. Oh, blimey! There's still 12 days to go, or whatever. 10 days to go.
I know he's gone out really early, so he's really looking forward to it. But should be good, mate. Should be good. So yes, Rochdale. So you got meetings and good thing. I was just going to say, do you want the good news about a Southend game?
Yes.
There's not really good news. We haven't beaten them at home in the league. Yeah, just looking here, we've just we played them.
Didn't we have the same problem against Northampton? And look what happened. Oh no, we lost, didn't we?
Yeah, although the Oxford, of course, that takes away that thing. But yeah, I was looking here when three games at our place, Southend have won 3 times at our place in the league, and we've won none. So we did beat them in a cup game, if I remember properly. We were a bit on penalties in the Johnson Paint Trophy when it was actually a proper tournament.
Yeah, didn't Adam Barrett score like a wonder equaliser or something, and then we beat them on penalties?
Yeah, he did.
You recall? Yeah.
But yeah, no real good news. We've only scored 1 goal at home against them in the league.
I can't even remember doing that, to be honest with you.
No, that was in a free... so 1 second here. Oh, when did we score? We lost 4-1 back in...
oh, yeah, of course.
Back in the day before, 31st December 2011, lost 4-1 at home.
Yeah.
After that, 4-0 reverse, 1-0 reverse. And I suppose we're getting better. Last time out was a 0-0. So it's getting better. It looks like, we look at that trend, then we should be looking at getting a win on Saturday. But they're in the top 6 at the moment, which I was really surprised, actually, top 6. So. Yeah,
they've overtaken Millwall, who I think in the week dropped points at Rochdale, funnily enough.
Yeah, we do deserve, let's be fair, we both went to the game. Was it Boxing Day? Yeah, it was Boxing Day, wasn't it, last year? Was it Boxing Day?
Yes, it was Boxing Day, yeah.
Well, we got beat, 3-0?
Yeah,
Latte got sent off, and we were dreadful, weren't we? Yeah. So we do owe them. We do owe them something.
Is our season over, though, realistically, now?
Depends what your class is over, doesn't it, really? I hope the players have enough professionalism that they want to get out as high a position as possible. I know some of the interviews on a Don's player this week was, let's try and see if we can get to 60 points. I think when you've got players like Will Nightingale coming back in, you've still got Dave Fitzpatrick, you've got Alfie Egan who wants to get games. It would be nice if we can mix some of the players that have sat on the bench this season with some of the experienced pros. Maybe get Alfie Egan in with Parrott and Jake Reeves. I don't think we've got too much up front where we can. I don't think Oslaja is going to come in too much and do that. But Will Nightingale, even still, how good would it be if we could bring maybe Paul Canambaye into the first team setup? Just see if we get games for them. But I don't think we should rest on our laurels. And some of the games we've got are more than winnable as well.
Yeah, we've got, 8 games left, 5 at home and 3 away. It's a good point, actually, about getting some players in. I was going to ask you that, talking to George earlier about Will Nightingale maybe getting a run of games, and there are others in the squad you want to get some game time to. And as you say, there are some nice games, especially the home games, where you might be able to give them an opportunity, even away from home. Swindon away, Port Vale away, teams that are looking to stay up, of course. But,
Yeah. Rochdale, if we get a point on Saturday, that gives us the 52 points which we wanted, which is supposed to be safety. So Rochdale are not on a good run of form. Their form is shocking. So there are games. I suppose the Swindon away game is probably one. It could be. Yes, I think they're going to be fine for relegation. I suppose Will Nilardi think, is it right to put a weakened team, potentially weakened by the experience in the team, against the team that's fighting relegation for the competition and stuff? But it's up to us now. We've earned the right now to be able to play our younger players because of the season we've had. So I think we're safe. I think we need one more point to guarantee it. But it's been a cracking season.
It has. It's turned out all right, hasn't it? In the end.
Yeah, we're sitting 6th in the form table at the moment. This time of the season, if you look at the games we've had, Fleetwood, after beating Milton Keynes on Tuesday, then going to Fleetwood, already beaten Scunthorpe, drew away at Bolton, who are starting to really put some form together. We've done not bad.
We've done not bad. There's one thing I was going to ask you, actually, talking about, sorry to go back, but the squad rotation, perhaps. Tom Beer, did I see he's returned? Yeah,
returned for personal reasons. That's an interesting one. There was a bit where he was taken off at half time, and apparently he tweeted saying I think they said the official line was he was injured, but he wasn't. That would be unprofessional. I hope that's nothing to do with it, because I don't think that's really what we want from our youngsters, to be truthful. He was doing all right, Gates said. He wasn't getting start. He wasn't starting, but he was coming on a sub, because Gates said they're doing well in the league and now just in the playoffs. But yeah, a bit of a disappointment for Tom Beer, but does that mean that he will get games now? George Oakley's just gone on loan to Maidstone. United, who, if you look at George, he had a spell at Welling a bit early on, done well there. Now at Maidstone, he got 59 minutes against Sutton United on Tuesday night. So, a bit of a different, he's gone from Welling, who I believe was sort of looking at the top end of the Conference South, and he's gone to a relegation battle now at Maidstone. So, good experience for him, but I suppose it's now looking at whether Neil Ardie is sending him out on loan to get experience for our first team, or is he sending them out with an eye thinking actually not too sure whether they're going to play in League One?
I guess only time will tell. I was going to ask you to just pick a game from the weekend's fixtures elsewhere in League One of interest, but as I was doing it myself, I went onto the BBC Sport Football website, and on our little page that we have, and the match report from our 2-0 victory over you-know-who, the little picture they use to go with it is of the "We don't buy history, you make it" flag. I think, result. Normally it's like some generic picture of someone tackling, but they've chosen that picture. I think that speaks volumes about, as we've said many times before, the media and how they view us and how they are clearly blatantly on our side. But
I think it was very clear, wasn't it? We said that, didn't we, how they reacted to it?
Yeah, without doubt.
Yeah, fixture-wise, you obviously got to look at Port Vale at home. Not Port Vale at home. Yes, Port Vale at home to a certain team.
Yeah.
Swindon at home to Millwall.
Yeah.
Big game in terms of both teams. Millwall on the outside. If we beat Southend or get something against Southend, Millwall win at Swindon. Equally, it's getting to a stage now down the bottom of the league where points are quite precious, aren't they? So I personally think Coventry and Chesterfield are too far away to get anywhere near. You could argue that Swindon don't start getting maximum 3 points soon. They are as well. But Port Vale are the team that have got the chance of mixing it up and down, haven't they?
They do, and I've just scanned ahead to Sunday, apparently. I'm assuming this is live on TV. Scunthorpe versus Bradford.
Yeah, 12:30 kickoff. It's the international weekend, isn't it? So that's a cracking game, isn't it, to actually have?
It's a big game. It's a big game. Not quite as big as the international friendly at the same day. Kenya versus the Democratic Republic of Congo, if I can say it correctly.
You have to fancy if Bradford win that game, they would then go 5 points clear of Scunthorpe. Probably, as George was saying earlier, Fleetwood and Bradford probably would be the two teams with the home advantage. But it wouldn't. Scunthorpe wouldn't surprise me to see Scunthorpe drop out of that altogether. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Millwall, great cup run this year. Scunthorpe have just fallen, haven't they? Just absolutely fallen heavily. Yeah,
they don't want to be falling out at this stage, but it can happen, and it has happened in the past.
But how good is it? We can look at the top end of the table, the bottom end of the table, and Joe, what we're not involved, but we're actually not. We're not involved in any relegation. We're safe. We can look ahead to next season and another season in League One. How cool is that?
It is amazing. It is amazing. Who's your pick for this Kenya Democratic Republic of Congo game?
Kenya.
I'm going to go for Congo.
Because Kenya are at home, I'm assuming.
Kenya are at home, yeah.
God knows where the home ground is. What's in Kenya?
Kenya, I'd imagine.
What city it's in? I don't know. His city's in Kenya, but good luck to Kenya. And of course, as we are recording this, we have England-Germany, which I totally forgot was being played this week, which probably shows how much international football really bothers me at the moment.
Yes, it must be just kicking off now as we're recording, so I suppose we should probably wrap up the show for this week, shouldn't we?
We should do.
Yes. Well, updates from the games with Southend and Rochdale will be on our Twitter at 9YRS Podcast, and keep your eyes peeled on all our social media on Facebook as well and Instagram as well at 9YRS Podcast. If you don't follow us on Instagram, or even if you do go and have a look at our Instagram page, because, Stu, the amount of quality videos and photos that we managed to grab, and I say we, I'm sure you'll tell me who, managed to grab for that Milton Keynes game, were extraordinary, I thought.
Yeah, there was some good stuff, wasn't there? There was some good stuff. Yes, of course, also from Stuart Butcher as well, who does all the club stuff and captures some great stuff. But yes, I do love the pictures. Pictures always tell 1,000 words.
Absolutely. Thank you very much to these fine gentlemen on Twitter at these F gentlemen as well for their track story playing us out again this week. And thank you very much, Stu, for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, George Jones, as well, earlier in the show. I don't think there's anything else to say, so let's wrap it up. Survey. So if you have not taken part in our 9 years podcast survey, please do. tinyurl.com/survey9YRS. Please fill that out if you have not yet done so. Links are on our Twitter and Facebook as well.
And actually, I've just reminded me, I've got something as well, just to say there is a pop-up stall in Centre Courts this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Darius Charles will be there on Sunday promoting it, and Lisa, who is Darius's girlfriend, has got a stall there, so she's asked us to let people know that she will be there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Darius will be there serving on Sunday, so please get along. They do the chokers, and I think there's also a food stall there as well, so give them a visit.
And give them a visit, and then join us next week on the podcast when we'll be joined by Xavier Woods. Do you know who Xavier Woods is, Stu?
I haven't got a clue.
He's a WWE wrestler.
Of course.
He's looking to turn over a new page in his career.
I bet he is.
And I'll leave that one to the imagination of the listeners. We'll see you then.
As I close